Okay, so we're going to talk about sales training. And to begin with, I'm going to use this handout that's posted. And a lot of it's just key terms or definitions. And then some of it I'm going to specifically talk about and give you some examples. But I'm going to try to keep these videos brief so that if it's something you can read yourself, um, then I'll just let you do that. But starting with just a sales training analysis, so kind of like any other analysis that you would do, um, you are going to look at various things within training as a manager. And so, three questions that you want to ask are: where do we need training? What should the content be? And who needs the training? So, what part of the organization needs training, content that needs to be trained, and who actually needs this training? So, is it sales and customer service? Is it just inside sales? Is it just outside sales? Is it just on product knowledge? Is it on the sales process, etc.? On the job training is going to be learning by doing and then receiving coaching and feedback. And we've talked about coaching and feedback. Role playing, all of you should be familiar with this. And then there are obviously different electronic training methods. Probably most of us, if we worked in any job, have had to do some kind of online training where you go through content and then generally take a quiz. And then there are different costs associated with training. Training can be very expensive. In the slides, I will actually give you a bunch of resources that have sales training cost and how they vary versus, well, based on, does the training come to you? Do you send people to training? Is it online, like online asynchronous? So you're not like on a virtual call. Is it a virtual call? Is it in person, etc.? Some combination. So things that you're thinking about as a manager when you are wanting to put training, or wanting to train. One, you might do it because your salespeople you think are not being as productive or efficient as possible. So one, that could be related to them not using like their CRM systems, and that if they use their CRM systems, they could be more productive. One example. One, if people, also if, let's say your salespeople just aren't being able, you have a group of people that just cannot seem to close deals. And so they're not getting their commissions. Well, their morale is going to go down because if you're not getting your commissions, you're missing out on money. And that's not going to make anyone happy. So maybe it's sales process, and that's going to help improve morale. Maybe you're seeing a lot of turnover. So people are unhappy and they're leaving. So training them on how to be the best salesperson, giving them the tools they need, can help with morale, which then impacts turnover. Maybe it's a customer service relationship management issue that you need to improve, or as I mentioned before, selling skills. So when you are developing or helping to develop a sales training program, you want to think through, like, with the content, where do we need to start? So let's say it's the sales process. Do we need to start from prospecting, or are the issues located in particular areas of the sales process? Is it product knowledge on one particular product, or is it across the board? Another thing you have to think about is, and we talked about this some with coaching, is both new recruits and experienced salespeople need to be trained. So generally, most, especially B2B firms, if you go into a B2B firm, you are probably going to have at least 2 months of training. Some companies do a year, 2 years, but some type of training as a brand new person. And even if you have prior experience in sales, they still might put you through some intensive product knowledge training. So this is going to vary, again, firm to firm, industry, job. So product knowledge needs can vary vastly, whether I'm selling, maybe payroll software versus medical devices. My product knowledge may change. Also, sometimes the sales process and cycle looks different at different companies. And in length, a lot of times it varies. And so you might need to train on that. But if we only train new recruits, think about someone that has been at the company for even 10 years. How much has changed since they started at that company? Just changed in the world and technology. So we do need ongoing training for our experienced salespeople and even our best salespeople, because we need to keep everyone up to date. Other things to think about, types of training, length of training, and then it shows you sales training topics. A lot of times there is a mix between these topics and methods. So there will be a mix of both of them. Like if it's a 6-month long, to try to break things up. So you might have some on the job training. Like I know a company that sells, they manufacture like siding or something. Part of the time they take the reps to the plants and show them how that stuff works, how things are being made. Part of the times it's ride-alongs. Part of the time it's classroom, to kind of really break things up so it's not so monotonous. And then things you have to think through, especially as a manager, because upper management's everyone always wants to know the cost of everything. So you have to think through what the costs are, and then how are you going to measure success? How do you know what the ROI is on this? So if I'm putting $60,000 into this salesperson to train them, how do I know that I've gotten that money back? So thinking through just that kind of stuff. And again, I have some slides that will go over this.